here's the final running video of Jeff's engine all set up. We're going to do a cold start. We're looking at about, oh, you can't see it, but it's 80 degrees, 79 degrees out here. I got it on the stand. I'll tilt you down a little bit here. Where we are, well, the wire harness is all done. I've deleted everything that's not necessary. The only thing I left that's an option for Jeff is this one wire here. This wire allows you to plug the AFM into one that's designed to run one of the earlier computers. That is pin A on the mass airflow. The 88, 89 ECUs do not use this pin, but it's pin 30 on the ECU and it goes into pin A on an airflow meter. However, you have to make sure you have an airflow meter that's set up to have a pin A output. Not all of them do. That's important. So you should have like 500 ohms between A and B. That's the one you want to use if you're going to use this. If you're not going to use this, like this computer doesn't use it, you don't need that pin A to have any resistance at all. It's not used. We just got to tie that one off for now. Let's see, what else we have that's important to remember. I've got the pressure, fuel pressure override, that overrides the vacuum to the fuel pressure regulator when the engine's hot. It's kind of nice, not really required, but it's an easy one to run. Nothing else is being used that's not absolutely needed. I replaced the old idle air control thing. This is just a bypass, doesn't do anything. I've got right here, if that's showing up, this is the hookup for the O2 sensor. It uses the harness that it came with had one of these kind of sensors. It's a 4-pin thing, and the only O2 sensor I had was a 3-pin, so I have an adapter that converts the 4-pin connector to a 3-pin connector. You know, Jeff can have that. On my wire harness, I have a 3-pin up here. What that lets him do is you could either use a 4-pin or a 3-pin O2 sensor. I think the 88, 89s, you know, if you ordered one, you wanted to go out and buy one, you'd get a titania type or a 300ZX 88, 89. It's probably going to come with this 4-pin connector. That's why, you know, just whatever. The only other thing that's left to be done on the thing is I've got the wire harness not completely wrapped. I did that on purpose. What happens when you wrap that wire harness with the tape, it becomes very stiff and hard to position. So my idea here is let's get it in the car, and then we can either put that flexible covering over it, you know, or go back and wrap it. But I didn't want to wrap it until it was installed in the car, and then find out, oh geez, I can't bend it because, you know, it's really taut and it's hard on the wires to do that. So it's kind of still relatively flexible. Down there you'll see a purple lead right here that's coiled up. That one's also not used. That's for the speed sensor if we get around to it, or Jeff can hook a push switch to ground that, and that'll activate the mass airflow cleaning, or just leave it coiled and don't worry about it. We haven't got a good solution for a speed sensor yet. That's why I'm not doing anything with it at this point. I think the best solution there would be that BRZ out of the UK. They make a speed sensor that goes in line with the mechanical speedometer cable, but I'm not sure what its output is. I don't know if it's a square wave or if it's a like from a Hall effect sensor or what it is. I mean, what the thing's looking for is a hard ground of that purple wire. The electronic ignition, zoom in on that. Right down there, uses, all you got to do is plug that into a coil. It uses a rectangular shaped coil, which I've used in the past, not successful with the stock tachometer in a 280Z. So the only thing we need to do there is get a round coil and adapt that plug into for a round coil. That's it. It's ready to go. And it's all completely integrated into the system. So you literally just hook the coil up, put the plug wire to it, and there's a lead there that you can plug your tack into. Let me scroll back. Okay, so the next thing is let's start this thing. Now this is, again, still a cold start. Let's see how she sounds. Oh, one other thing I did do is I did end up swapping the injector 2 for 5, and I did that because I'm pretty sure I did some tests. I won't go into great detail, but I'm pretty sure that this thing fires as it says 1, 2, 3 as a group and 4, 5, 6 as a group, but this motor needs a 1, 5, 3, so you have to swap the 2 for 5 on this to make that work smoother when it goes into that group mode firing instead of the batch mode firing. Let's give it a start. See how it sounds. You'll notice the idle is, it just starts up and it runs like normal. I got the fuel in. Fan belt. That high idle is normal. That's the high idle is a result of the air regulator. Right here. Code. One, two. 1, 2. That's the pump code. That should be the way code is throwing. Now that it's started, you can clear that out. Go to 4. That clears it. Now we'll go back to it. There are no intermittent codes. We'll go back to 3. We should get 5, 5. That's the all clear. We're all clear. Let's go back and monitor the closed loop settings. That's going to be mode 2. So we go back to here. Mode 1, 2, 3, 4. is flashing where the red and green are synchronized. It may not be there yet because it has to warm up. It's probably still an open loop right now. I'll goose it a little bit. Let's see if we can get that to work. There you go. That's perfect. We're in closed loop and it's running, it's fully synchronized. Green means running lean. It adds fuel mix. Off means it's frame rich. It takes fuel trim away. When it either stays on or stays off, it generally means that it's in closed loop, so we've got to get it going again. Idle, it typically stays in closed loop. Let's take a look at the, I want to show you one more thing. It's kind of interesting. Let's look at the fuel mix. That's pretty much perfect. Now I'm going to turn it off and show you one other feature it has. And I'm going to turn it back on again and we'll review those codes, but I won't start this time. Now it's going to default back to 1. So we have to change that up. If I can get that, here we go. 2. 1, 2, 3. This, I want to show you what 4 does. That's the switch verification. Now, I can't remember what it was, but I'm not going to do the start switch because obviously it starts and it works fine. I suppose I could just disable the start motor and we could hear it crank. But first of all, let's do the, this is the idle. So when I get off idle, there should be a reaction. See how it goes on? Hey, that's me opening and closing the throttle plate. So if the throttle plate wasn't set with the throttle thing right here, this thing right here, see if I can get it in my finger where I'm pointing. Ah, shucks. Can't see it. This device right here has to be tweaked. And it's attached to this. So there's that. Okay. I'm gonna disconnect the starter motor so it won't actually crank, and we'll try hitting the start switch and see what happens. I'm gonna disengage the starter motor. Then I'm gonna turn this. I can't see it, so I'm going to come back and review the footage to see what happened. But hopefully that thing did something when I was turning that starter. But that's what mode 4 does. It checks some of the switch settings, and I'm pretty sure it loses. Well, I don't know what it's going to say. Let's take a look at mode 3 again. We'll go to mode 5. Right. Mode 1 we don't care about. Mode 2 we don't care about. Let's see if it maintained that pump setting. Okay, let's see if it still shows 5. I think it may until you try to restart it. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So right now mode 3 shows all clear, but that's because I haven't started. Every time I start it, it gets confused because of the way the pump is set up on this setup. If I didn't make that clear already, this controller has the ability to control the pump motor itself directly. It has a driver in there that can actually control the pump motor, and it can vary the output of the pump motor for requirement. So I guess the idle, it brings the voltage down a little bit. It's overly complicated, and there's a fuel relay, and it switches off the ground rather than the positive of the motor. So it deviates pretty far away from the way most people set up, outside of an actual 300ZX. A 280Z has a positive controlled pump motor. In other words, the pump motor is grounded and you control the positive. Well, this thing controls the negative. So it's just too much confusion. So rather than doing all that nonsense, we just set it up so this controls a pump relay only, not using this controller inside at all to run the pump motor. You use a pump relay. And I guess the advantage of that too is, if your pump motor ever jammed up, it's not going to smoke the controller. You know what I mean? So I like the idea of using an actual relay as opposed to making the controller try to internally regulate the voltage to the pump. But that's it. So we're all good to go with Jeff. Thing runs great. We'll do one more hot start just for fun. I don't know what this thing's going to do. I don't know what that flash thing's going to do when I hot start it. Let's see. There's a hot start. Let's see if it throws a 2-2. Yep. Right back to 2-2 again. How about that? Every time you start it, it does that. That's 4. We clear it. That clears the code. 5 is usually for intermittent stuff. Back to mode 3, and you'll probably have the 5.5 now that we've cleared out the pump. There you go, all good to go. Well, okay, Jeff, you're all good. Let's get this boy in your car and have some fun. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.